Hi guys, Geoffrey here. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 very toxic myths that I see a lot of people misunderstanding about what power actually means in a relationship. And be sure to stick around to the very end of this video because when it comes to saving a relationship or even creating a thriving relationship, understanding what power means is going to be key. And to make it worse, right now there's a ton of videos out there telling you how to become a higher value man, how to become an alpha male or become more masculine. And these videos actually, as you'll see in a bit here, are actually pointing you in the wrong direction where it's making you less powerful and it's going to sabotage the long-term state of your relationship as well. And so in this video, I want to clarify for you what power actually means and get you in the right direction in terms of adopting a healthier view of what it means. And for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships or in marriages with the right skills, with the right mindsets to be able to design a thriving relationship for yourself. So if you want more content on this topic, then be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And before we begin this video, I also want to let you know that the registration for the masterclass on the 5 proven steps on rebuilding your relationship is still open. So if you want to join that masterclass or if you want to submit your application for the Relationships Revival program, be sure to stick around to the end of this video for the announcement on that. So let's start here with myth number 1, which is that power is about standing up for yourself. So for example, whenever our partner crosses our boundaries, for example, they do something that could be frowned upon, let's say, that the best thing to do is to not take it, put your foot down and say, no, you can't do that anymore. So whether that's your partner having an affair or perhaps talking to other people or perhaps doing something that is disrespectful to you, we put our foot down, we say, no, you can't do that anymore. And in the short term, this makes us feel like we are taking on the powerful position, like as if we are putting our foot down, and that's what we think power means. But in 2 videos ago, we discussed this concept called paradox of logic. And let me tell you why this sensation of power is really a myth and is really just an illusion on your side. Because while this may make you feel strong and powerful in the short term, right now, what it really is doing is it's destroying that safety and trust in that relationship. And if you've been watching my videos a lot, you will know that the safety and trust is really the main currency, the primary currency of your relationship. And so to take this even deeper, if you are used to just simply putting your foot down and really punishing your partner for doing bad behavior and just asserting yourself in that way, what it does is it makes your partner understand that whenever the truth comes out, the difficult truth, the reality of the situation, if she tells you something that you don't want to hear, that she will end up regretting sharing the truth with you, because when the truth comes out, you're going to start to punish her and impose on her and make it really difficult for her for making mistakes or even admitting to her mistakes. And whenever you react in this way, it just confirms to your partner that this is how you'll react when you get the truth. And to make it worse, just because you punish her and make it difficult for her for making whatever mistakes she made, it's not going to remove the feelings, the underlying emotional feelings deep down. In fact, if anything, those feelings and desires may get intensified as they get repressed. Because whenever you repress something, everything just gets stewed. Everything just builds up the same way whenever you repress something, it just is allowed to fester and build. But the worst part about this is that while the same feelings still exist, the same emotional desires still exist, now she just won't tell you about it. Because now you've destroyed that safety and trust once again, which is the main currency of the relationship. So ironically, if you really dig deeper into this really makes you weaker. Again, these problems and desires and misunderstandings still exist deep down. But now you won't know about it because she won't share it with you. And she won't share it with you because of the lack of safety and trust. And so if she's not really sharing her deepest and darkest secrets and emotions and feelings and desires with you, then you can never become a leader. You can never become a powerful leader because you cannot find solutions to something that you don't really fully understand, that is never expressed. And you cannot find a win-win if you cannot find a solution. So whenever the pipes of communication is broken down like this, then that leads to even more misunderstandings, leads to even more conflicts, which cause you to be frustrated both sides and more repressed, which causes even more safety and trust to be destroyed. And this cycle just never ends. And as this cycle continues, the communication breaks down even more, making it harder for you to understand and also to resolve conflicts in your relationship in the long run. And over time, it's going to make it harder and harder for you to become this leader, and it's going to make you less and less powerful. This is akin to, let's say, you are running a company, a business, and you are hiring 50 people in your business. If you destroy the safety in your business, It might make you feel powerful in the short term where you're imposing and acting like a boss. But the very fact that the safety and trust is broken, and if your employees or the person you're working with are not telling you what you need to know, then that's undermining your actual power in becoming a leader. Because a leader is someone who should understand what is happening, who should understand the full scope of whatever's happening in the business. But if you don't understand, then you cannot fix anything. And so it makes you weaker. This is the same thing in relationships, in that if you want to be stronger, then the currency that you have to build is really that safety and trust with your partner. So here we're going to discuss more about what real power looks like a bit later, but for now, I just want you to plant a flag there. And I want you to understand this concept called the paradox of logic, and that, just asserting yourself, standing up for yourself, and disapproving of your partner's bad behavior, while it makes you feel strong in the short term, in the beginning, it's really putting you in an actually worse and weaker position in the long term. Now let's go to myth number 2. And this myth is about the fact that actions determine whether you're powerful or whether you're weak. And the way I know this is that, way too many people obsess about what they should say or what they should do when it comes to whether they do the certain things to appear powerful or not. For example, most people ask the questions of, is initiating contact, is that needy or is it okay? Is giving gifts needy? Is walking away good because that shows power, right? So they're defining what power means or whether they're powerful or not by the actions that they take. So to understand why this is a myth, we need to understand the difference between intentions and actions. So understand that people can have the same actions, but it's the intentions that really determine whether the actions are meaningful or not. For example, people can give $1 million out of the pure goodness of their heart, the pure goodness intentions, or they can give $1 million because they want some PR out of it. They're doing it for some selfish reasons. So here you have the same action, but the same actions has very different intentions, and the intentions makes all the difference in this case. And the same thing in relationships. You can initiate contact out of neediness, out of desperation, or you can initiate contact out of the desire to help. And the same thing, you can walk away with good intentions of wanting to give your partner space, or you can walk away in an intention to manipulate your partner into missing you or making you come back. And this reminds me of a really interesting analogy that I often give to my clients as well, in that, if you look at the way I do my business, I tend to not shy away from selling my program and talking about my program and talking about the value of my program and getting people to enroll and buy the program. And a lot of people would tell me, hey, that action sounds very needy. It's very pushy. It's very salesy. It's not very powerful looking. But to me, these people are really mistaking that power is not really reflected in the actions, but really the intentions behind it. Because yes, people could sell the program. People could overly promote the program because they don't really believe in it. They're desperate for it, sure. But what if your intention is different? For me, the reason why I sell my program and I push my program is because I know it can change lives. We have people in our program who have spent close to $50,000 on other coaching programs and other therapists. And we have even therapists join our program because they saw so much in their clients. And so the way we think about it, the intention of why we want to promote our program is because we know it can help. We know it can help you. We know people need it. It's almost like if you know you have the cure for cancer, are you going to shy away from telling the world about it? You're not going to shy away. In fact, it will be doing the world a disservice. It will be more asshole-ish for you to not promote that product to the people. That's kind of where we're at. So yes, the action is the same, but we have to look at the intentions behind it as well. And the intentions has everything to do with determining whether we're coming from a place of power or not. But let's go even deeper here to discuss what is the crux of neediness. What does neediness actually mean? So neediness, if you break it down, actually means that you are expecting, you need a certain outcome to happen. You need that outcome to happen. And not only do you need that outcome to happen, you can only see one outcome that needs to happen. You need that one outcome to happen. But the problem here is that, again, your sense of well-being and your sense of happiness depends on you getting that one thing. You need that thing. If you don't get that thing, your well-being and happiness declines drastically. If you get it, it inclines drastically as well. And so here, because you need that thing, you are willing to do just about anything, to lie, cheat, steal, to really get what you want, to really get what you need. So here, I want you to really understand that neediness or not, or power, is really an internal state, not an action. So you could, for example, initiate contact out of power. A lot of our clients, for example, whenever they initiate contact, they're initiating contact because they can see that their partner is very upset. They can see that their partner is really resistant, and they want to show them the way to the new ways that they're leading conversations in a way that heals them, in a way that makes them feel better. And so here, initiating contact becomes a powerful thing because the intention is to really rescue your partner who may be in distress at the moment. But you can also be initiating contact out of neediness, because then this initiating contact is really to beg your partner to talk to you. The same way, you can walk away out of neediness or out of power. Some people walk away because they're trying to elicit a certain response from their partner. And so they're walking away out of need. But some people can walk away from a place of power because they know that maybe this is not the right relationship for them, because maybe they know that, their partner may need space right now. You can even apply this to giving gifts or saying certain things. I mean, you can apply this principle to anything in a relationship, in that the actions itself don't determine whether you have power or not, or whether you're weak or not. It's the intention you come from that really, really matters. That makes all the difference. And the last point to know here is that you cannot hide this. This is not something you can fake. And our clients know this very, very well, because power is not, again, displayed by what you do, but it's an internal state. And the internal state shows up when you do something and you get a certain response, and how you respond to that response will determine whether you're coming from a place of power or not. For example, there's a lot of people who understand that, the best negotiating position is to walk away and mean it. So they learn in their relationship, okay, I gotta walk away and take my attention away, play hard to get a bit. But because they're coming from this place of need, when they realize that their partner is not really coming back to their relationship, they start to panic. They start to get all flustered and they go, oh, wait, never mind, I was just bluffing. And so it's not about the first initial walking away, but how you respond to your partner's response. If you crumble when you don't get what you want, that's when you know you're coming from a place of need. And power is also displayed not through one-offs. Like you do one thing powerful and you think, oh, that establishes me as the alpha. But it's by consistency. And by consistency, I mean, you have to be able to do the same things, come from this powerful position, not only in a week, but a lot of our clients do it for 6 months, 8 months. And only then can your power really show. So you can try to hide this internal state of power all you want, but eventually those cracks will show. And eventually, if you're trying to fake your power through actions here, your internal state is going to show eventually. It's going to come out in the daylight. And this is especially true in long-term relationships where there's nowhere to hide. Now let's go to myth number 3. And this is a very big one, and I see a lot of people falling into this one. And this is that power is really not about wanting anything. So many people think that if you're someone who's powerful, yeah, you're not needy, but then they go the other extreme where they pretend like they don't need anything. Like they think that asking for something means weakness. Chasing for something means weakness. Trying to grab something means weakness. So we hear this concept, for example, of having the high value man and allowing women to come to you and people to come to you. So what most people do is when their partner says they want a divorce, they say, okay, fine, you want a divorce? Go ahead then. And they pretend like they don't need or they really don't want anything. And again, this goes back to me promoting my program again. So whenever I promote my program, people say to me, oh, you're trying to be too salesy, you're too needy right now. And a lot of people in relationships are also afraid to ask for that forgiveness, to ask for more time, to ask to avoid divorce because they're afraid that they might seem too needy and too pushy and so on. Now, am I saying that you should go back into that needy state where you're pushing too hard? No, there's a balance that you have to look at. Again, you have to understand that being powerful is not just about not needing anything, because people who are powerful, people who get what they want, are the people who know how to ask for what they want. For example, this applies with me selling my program. Because I know that my program is really helpful and has changed a lot of lives. I know it's one of the most potent things you can go through ever in your life. I see it like I have a vial here that is kind of like the cure for cancer for a lot of people. And if I have that potent vial, I'm not going to be shy to ask people to buy, enroll, and partake in my program because I know I'm doing them a service as well. Now, to understand this deeper, I want you to imagine a scale here, like a continuum here. On one side of the continuum is what we call neediness. So people know they shouldn't be needy, they get it. But then they go the other extreme where they go into this place of indifference. But what people don't realize is that there's this middle ground where you're coming from this place of want, of wanting. So let's apply this to the concept of maybe your partner not being able to give you safety. So in our channel, we talk a lot about giving our partner safety. But often what we think about is, what about my safety? So if you're coming from a place of need here, is when you are needing that safety yourself in your relationship. when you need that safety, then you are going to naturally get angry, get upset, get all flustered, and lose your bulletproof vest whenever your partner is not giving you that safety. And ironically, when you need safety in a relationship, and when you get all berserker crazy when you're not getting that safety you need, then that prevents you from actually having a civilized conversation to actually get the safety that you want, right? Because once you lose your emotions, the communication breaks down, and you cannot even talk about finding a win-win if you can't even keep your emotions. That's a problem with needing safety. But then we also don't want to go into this other direction where we pretend like we don't need safety. And so here, you're never really asking for that safety. You're letting your partner really walk all over you and just accepting whatever comes. Neither extremes work. But if we come from a place of want, that is when we want safety, but we don't necessarily need safety. And that's a major big difference there you need to understand. So if you want safety, but you don't need safety, you are still poised enough emotionally whenever you don't get the safety you need to be able to start a civilized conversation, a friendly conversation, to find a win-win in your relationship. But at the end of the conversation, once you create the rapport, once you guide the conversation properly, you're not afraid to ask for that safety that you're looking for. So let's spend the rest of the video here talking about what cultivating real power actually means in a relationship. What does it look like in a relationship? So let's give the example here that we are dealing with some major conflicts in the relationship and your partner is doing some really bad behavior. The first thing that happens is that there's this internal manifestation first, the internal change first. And this internal change is when they get from a place of need or indifference into this middle ground of understanding what want means. And once they do this, and once they get to this place, they can find that being bulletproof is a lot easier as well. And with that bulletproof nature, with that poised emotions, they go into what we call the frameworks, and they start to lead the conversation by first trying to build understanding and building that base of persuasion again. Again, persuasion is not about saying the right things and telling your partner the right things, but about making your partner feel understood. Again, we have a video on this already. If you want to watch that video, it'll be in the end cards at the end of this video. So like a good executive, they can lean in and start to dig deeper and understand the behavior from their partner's perspective. The same way in a big company, for example, a good leader, whenever someone makes a mistake, they're not going to assume that that person sucks. They're going to try to investigate, okay, what was going on here? So like a good executive, they're going to start to build that base of understanding first. And most often when you try to build this base of understanding, you realize that there's actually more than meets the eye regarding this problem. That this problem wasn't that black and white, that there are other very good reasons of why people do the things they do, and they get to the point where they can say in their heads, if I were you, I would have done, thought, felt exactly the same. Yes. And if you're thinking that getting to this place is impossible right now, like you're looking at your partner's behavior and you're saying, there's no way, there's other reasons, other good reasons of why she could have an affair, for example. Well, understand that most of our clients start that way, where they're just very close-minded and they're not really aware of what they don't know. But once you really open your mind to really understanding how to dig deeper using the frameworks and mindsets, you realize that there's a lot that you don't know. That your partner does certain things because there's a good reason in her mind. And it's not always the reasons that you think. So I want you to realize that the reason why you're struggling is exactly the reason why you cannot understand this concept right now of having an open mind so that you can actually understand your partner a bit deeper and make your partner feel understood. And only when you make your partner feel understood can you move on to the next step, which is actually suggesting a win-win. But most people, again, rush this part. And so when they discuss this win-win, they're actually creating two forms of wins. One is that they find a win-win on the solution itself, on the logistical stuff itself. And this, usually when you discover deeply with your partner like this, this win-win will come to you in a flash of lightning. If the win-wins are not coming to you like a flash of lightning, that means you haven't dug far enough, you haven't dug deep enough. That's the first win. The second win, though, is that in the process of trying to find this win-win, you're also creating a lot of safety and trust. And this makes it easier for you to resolve conflicts in the future and have conversations in the future, which actually increases the power that you have in the relationship. So I want you to contrast this to how most people do it, which is as soon as the conflict happens, they start to get upset, all angry, they put their foot down, they do all the things that we talked about before. And so the conversation breaks down and they can never find the win-win. So while they might feel powerful in the short term, they're actually relinquishing a lot of their power in the long term. So in our Relationships Revival program, this is an aspect, this understanding of power and how to also manifest that power in a relationship is something that our clients have really, really mastered. They learn these principles to a deep degree, and they know how to execute it as well. So if you want to dive deeper into this topic, then I want you to join me in my free masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In that masterclass, I will show you the exact process that all my students have used to rebuild the relationship from the ground up and rebuild themselves as well to becoming the best version of themselves. So if you want to join that masterclass, or even if you want to submit your application for the Relationships Rebel program, then I want you to click the link above my head, or also down in the comments below, or in the description box below this video as well. And if you want to download a guide where I talk about one of the frameworks that you can use to really guide conversations to a win-win position, then I also want you to download the guide I have for you above my head, or also down below this video. And finally, if you want to join a community, a Facebook group, free Facebook group, where you can post your questions, talk about your situation, and actually get good advice from myself or a member of my team, then you can also check out the link below this video. In the meantime, do leave a comment below with what you thought was most insightful or most eye-opening that you learned from this video. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like this video, if you found it to be valuable, then click the like button. It really helps the channel out. And also subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. In the meantime, I will leave you with these 2 other videos here with more skills, with more knowledge for you to be able to design a thriving relationship for yourself. For now, I'll see you in the next video.